Have you guys been wondering how come the churches around the world and now in Canada are catching fire all of a sudden? Sri Lanka just witnessed its worst terrorist attack, targeting churches and luxury hotels. This happened on Easter Sunday. It was carried out by local Islamic extremists in retaliation for the mosque shooting in New Zealand. The death toll is in the high 300s right now, and around 500 people have been injured. If revenge was their goal, these people have truly outdone themselves. The government of Sri Lanka has blamed the National Tawfiq Jamaat, NTJ, after 7 suicide bombers struck 3 churches and 3 hotels. And now the Islamic State as well has declared responsibility for this attack. Apparently, this was an unusual thing because ISIS needed 2 days to declare this. And that's not typical of them. So there's a little bit of speculation whether this claim is true or not coming from ISIS. Now, I tried to find some information on CBC about the Sri Lanka attacks, and I also went on, to see what the prime ministers of the Western world and the leaders of the Western world, what did they do? Because after the terrorist attack in New Zealand, I had to log off Twitter for, almost a week. I would basically just, pop in really quick and see the storm that was happening online, mainly from politicians discussing identity politics, disgusting generalizations and accusations, completely unfounded. But now I went on Twitter to see anything. Nothing. It was like, it's just like any other day. I actually read a lot about alt-right. There was fear now of the alt-right reaction for the massacre by ISIS. That was what the media said. And CBC doesn't know who did this. CBC's lost. They have no clue who's responsible for this. Okay, now that I've done this rant, I wanted to talk to you guys about mosques. According to many prominent people in the Muslim community here in Canada, some of which have been trying to wake Canadians up for a few years now, 80% of mosques in this country have been taken over by extremists, front groups who are connected to the Muslim Brotherhood terrorist cartel. Now, people generally are under the impression that mosques are similar to churches in that they are houses of worship. Because that's what the media keeps feeding you. That mosques are houses of worship. But are they? There is an article. Please visit the description. I'm going to attach a few links. Please go through the links, read the articles. The function of mosques in Muslim majority country is not simply a house of worship. I could tell you a little bit about my personal experience, which is horrendous. My personal experience is that mosques serve a political and social function more than just spiritual or religious or a house of worship. Mosques behave to surveil. They're there to look and see what you're doing in your house. Are you praying? If you're not praying, they will report you and the local imams will take you to court. I think I've said before that I had 4 mosques around my house, which was an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. you guys don't have the noise that is pumped out by mosques that we have in Muslim majority countries. So I believe they need permission to pump out the sounds, the call to prayer in the West. Where I come from, it's just absolute chaos. The report that I'm going to attach, in it, there is a statistic that was done. It was carried out by the General Authority of Statistics, GA Stat. It said that the total number of mosques in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 2017 was 98,800 mosques. That's in a Muslim majority country. That's what you would be. That's the projection. These are the numbers they like. Now, I'm reminded of when Justin Trudeau sat, and started lecturing to people about construction workers and how they affect, the social and the rural, and I don't know what he said, just basically saying male construction workers are horrific to the local communities. Don't know where he got that information from. Would like to see some evidence, but I don't think that's going to happen. And how he likes to do all these little gender analysis studies on all the government projects and, just sort of block them from ever happening. The article that I've attached, in it are the social impacts of having mosques built in your community. Mosques differ in their hierarchy, and I don't think you guys in the West know this or understand it. This is because of the pietistic fame of the mosque's founders, as well as its members. So the more devout, the more strict, the more religious they are, the more fanatical they are, the more the mosque ranks higher in the hierarchy of mosques. So higher ranking mosques achieve this goal of being top by being a radical Islamic missionary training and sending agency. Their emphasis on strict living and ideological and theological purity of 7th century Islam. So the more they stay pure to the original form of Islam that was practiced in 7th century Arabia, the more important this mosque is. The function of a mosque cannot be understood without considering the first mosque and its role and rule in the first Muslim community. Again, I'm attaching this article. Please go look at it. Mosques were treated as a madrasa. You guys don't know what a madrasa is. I actually went to one. A madrasa is an Islamic school. To further Islamic 7th century doctrine. This is very critical, guys. They can't teach any other, this civil West Islam that you guys talk about, this moderate Islam. No, none of that stuff. The pulpit from which spiritual admonitions were given, along with encouragement to resist the non-Islamic influence through jihad. It was here that jihad was proclaimed and the Muslim armies were sent to conquer the world. Here being the old original mosques that all new mosques that are being built try to imitate. It was from here that official Islamic delegations were sent, both by Muhammad and his successors. It was where the delegations and the representatives of the tribes were received. It was where the pledges of loyalty of the Arab tribes, of Muhammad, to Muhammad and to Islam were received. Sorry about that. It was where the affairs of the Islamic State were conducted. And at such a time, the headquarters of the first Islamic state. It was here that Muhammad and his successors Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali appointed judges for different regions and appointed the commanders for military troops. In mosques, they do all this, not just worship. Also, it was from here that jihad detachments were displaced and high-ranking state officials and tax collectors were sent out. It was here that the contracts, pacts, and treaties were commissioned. Mosques function a little bit more than just as a house of worship. So tell me, after reading and hearing all this, do you think that mosques only serve as houses of worship?